Good evening and welcome to Soulibration. I am your host, Shameika Rhymes. And let me know in the chat where you are watching from and how you're doing this evening. And I'm going to give you a second to go get your mug. You see, I've got mine. It says check the rhymes. I should have had a Soulibration one, but I just grabbed what I could because today it's tea time. So remember to share this with your network. And if you have any questions at all during the show, drop it in the chat because you guys are the co-host. So can your cup of tea do more than just warm your hands? And I don't know about you where you guys are, but the past couple of days it's been a little chilly here in North Carolina. But tonight we're going to dive into that healing magic of herbs and teas with Sunyata Amen. She is the founder of Calabash Tea and Tonic and a master herbalist with over 35 years of experience. She's here to show us how reconnecting with plant medicine can support stress relief, better sleep, hormonal balance, and more. So whether you're struggling with burnout or simply curious about natural healing, then you're in the right place. So tonight we're going to be talking about what to sip in your cup. Go get your mug, y'all, and why. So let me explain again a little bit about our guests tonight. And I see you, Gastonia, Asheville, Charlotte. I see you guys in the chat. Welcome. As I said, Sunyata is a fifth generation master herbalist, and she founded Calabash Tea and Tonic 15 years ago. It's a multi-award winning brand with 4 thriving tea houses. So, and she also has her YouTube channel, The Witch's Kitchen. So make sure you guys check that out. So let's bring on Sunyata.
Hi, Shameika. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Excellent. I'm better now. I'm in good company. I'm happy to be here with you.
Me too. And I know you have your mug. I've got mine.
I sure do. I have some tea in here. Our tea called My Last Good Nerve because my family is on my last good nerve. So I needed to have this today. So I'm so happy you have I love your mug. Check the rhymes.
Yeah, that's my YouTube channel.
I love it.
And that sounds like some good tea. We'll have to come back to that, and you'll have to tell us what's in that.
Sanity.
Sanity. So let's start here. How do herbs actually work in the body and spirit? Like, what's happening to our body when we're sipping a good cup of tea?
This is a great question. There are ways to extract the ingredients that we need from plant matter, like herbs, but those ways aren't not always available to us. So we may have ways that have been used in antiquity, like steeping them in alcohol, putting them into poultice or other things like that. But tea is one of the most accessible ways that we can get the benefits of herbs into our system that is like almost instantly available to us and makes the most sense. So what's happening at that point is the dehydrated leaves typically are being rehydrated and the medicine is becoming available to us. And I mean, what's more comforting than a cup of tea? It just feels good. It feels invigorating. Like I have our elephant walk tea every morning because I need some energy. And then in the evening, I might have my last good nerve. It's like we need to program a little differently, Shameika. Like I know in this culture, at least here in the United States, I know you probably have viewers from all over the world, but in the US, we have this wake up with legal addictive stimulants like coffee. And then we have go to bed with legal addictive depressants like alcohol. So what we'll call the wind down or and so we get accustomed to programming ourselves with substances that aren't great for us, but we could be using substances that are actually helping us. And they're both natural too, coffee and wine, right? And other alcohols, but not so great for you in the long run.
Yeah, and as women enter perimenopause, menopause, sometimes those things like coffee and wine turn against you.
Absolutely do. Absolutely do. It can happen like that. Look, I'm a grandmother and I'm just going to tell you, it can happen like that. And before you know it, you're like, wow, I just don't feel as energetic, or I'm picking up too much weight in the middle, or my sleep is disturbed, or I'm hot flashing, or whatever the case is. And it doesn't have to be that way. The tea can help you.
I love that. Now you've been surrounded by herbs your whole life. What inspired you to turn that into calabash tea and tonic and this whole movement around ancestral healing?
This is a great question. I will tell you that I grew up in my great grandmother's herbal apothecaries in Jamaica. They were from Jamaica and Cuba. And I spent time at their knee,
Mm,
learning
yeah.
years and years and years, decades. And when I got to be a little bit older, my dad, I guess 50 years ago now, this is the 50th anniversary of him opening the very first location in Harlem. And I'm just going to tell you that working for free as the free laborer in those three locations, I never wanted to do this for a living. I was like, I don't care what you say, I'm never doing this. Here I am.
Isn't that how it always works out? I will never. And then, yep.
Ever, 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 forever, ever, forever, ever. I was like, guess what? But then every time I tried to get out, they kept pulling me back in. And so at a certain point, you realize, okay, well, maybe this is my destiny.
Yeah.
And perhaps I'm good at this. And I've also been trained in an unbroken chain of information as a fifth generation herbalist. Like, don't look that in the mouth. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And instead,
Mhm.
how can we help people with this information? And so that's what I dedicated myself to. God help me. But I think for better or worse, here it is. And really, ancestors ask us to leave proof of intelligent life, right?
Mhm.
To take whatever gifts we have and give it to the world. You're giving this amazing gift to the world of what you do. Everyone has a gift, a
Right.
medicine to bring
Mhm.
to a village. And so this was just my particular medicine.
I love that. It also made me think. I went to an event, I guess it's been 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. It was a tea, and I'm in North Carolina. And there was a woman there with her own tea company, and she started talking about how our ancestors didn't have a CVS and they didn't have, these other stores where if something hurt, they didn't have a place to go, oh, let me just go pick up a Tylenol or let me go get this so I can go to sleep. So
Right.
going back to what you were saying about, the plants and using that as medicine has been something that I've seen a lot of resurgence of that. And and especially after going to so many doctors for, whatever health issues, sometimes you're just
Yeah.
like, I just want something simple that will help
Yeah.
me so I don't have to take a ton of medicine.
Absolutely. I mean, 70% of what is at a CVS behind the pharmacist
Hmm.
is naturally derived or is a chemical that is, or a compound that is mimicking what
Hmm.
was found in natural compounds and natural plants. And so in the natural world in general. And so what ends up happening is that I'm glad that we're getting back to that. What I
Yeah.
also say as a caveat is that God bless the internet.
Yes,
Uh, but I think you see where I'm going. It's
I
great.
do.
It's great. At the same time, I'm very concerned when I see something with a million views on TikTok or
Hmm.
Instagram or YouTube, and the person really doesn't understand the mechanics, the chemistry, and the foundational elements of how to blend those things. So much in the same way that Shameika, I know you would not jump across the counter at the CVS and hop across from the pharmacist and feel like, get out of the way, just throw my elbow and, and start pulling stuff down and put it in your mouth.
Uh-huh.
The reality is that nor should we do that with plants. We have to respect the plant and know that that plant has as much power as any of those medicines that are
Hmm.
behind the counter or even over the counter. And what we have to do is respect the traditions of people who've taken the time, who've
Hmm.
invested decades and decades and decades to learn, and respect that understanding from our elders. Unfortunately, a lot
Yeah.
of us have been separated from that information
Hmm.
because in the Great Migration, for example, in the United States, so many of our great grandparents and greater grandparents came to northern cities, or in your case, you're in North Carolina, but they may have come into urban
Right.
areas. And
Mhm.
what happens is we end up leaving our knowledge base behind because we're no longer in an agrarian culture. We're no
Mhm.
longer gardening, farming, have a root working woman in our community who works the roots, baby. She knows how to throw down with the illnesses and ailments, both physical and metaphysical,
Mhm.
right? So these are also the women and people that we would trust for the hoodoo shop, but also those are where the herbs are located.
Mhm.
So our traditions are often left behind, and in the wake of that, the understanding of the medicine is left, and not everything you can find on Google. Not everything is Googleable, nor
Mhm.
should it be. So I'm a
Right.
little concerned when I see that people are like, oh, you take this for this and you take this herb for this. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. And I'm like, that's actually not the principal herb I would use for that. Or
Mhm.
people drop into our website, and I love that, where they'll ask a question and say, well, do you have a tea that has this in it? Do you have a tea that has that? Not my first question is not, yes, we do. My question is, why? Why do you want this?
Yeah.
What is the problem? And
Mhm.
then let's get there. I always ask, and my staff always asks, how can we help to heal you today? We're not doing the healing. My
Right.
job is to help you heal. So how can I serve you? I'm just your servant. And then let's get to that, because a lot of times people have listened to someone on the internet and said,
Mhm.
oh, well, they told me to take this, or they told me to take
Yeah.
Kohash, and I'm like, hold on, hold on
Mhm.
a second. So, Shameika, something it could be useful, like our quiz that's on the website,
Right.
people out.
Yeah, as I was mentioning to you earlier, I took the quiz earlier, and you guys should definitely check that out. We'll give out the website info. But yes, I was like, it asks a list of like, what is your concern? Kind of like, what is ailing you? I'm thinking of this little boy on TikTok. What is ailing you?
I love that. Yeah.
He's like a 65-year-old in a 4-year-old's body. But and as I was going through, I'm like, yes, hormones, yes, stress, yes, sleep, yes, digestion, all the things.
Yeah.
And I love that it then gives a list of different teas. So with that said, for people that are new to herbal teas, what is a simple blend to start with? Maybe, and I'm just putting stuff together off the top of my head, and you can be like, no, ma'am, that is not right. Like lemongrass, peppermint, um, maybe some holy basil. I don't know.
Right. Well, I love where your mind is going.
Okay.
I love where your mind is going. So here's the thing. My great grandmother used to say to me that a good herbal formula is like a village. There needs to be a king and a queen, messengers that run the message, water carriers that bring the water, people who are the town criers who tell the village what's about to happen.
Yes,
So
yes.
when I hear, oh, I love ginger, I drink it all the time, I have it all the time, I'm like, okay, well, to what end? Right? As an example,
Hmm.
because ginger to me is a helper herb. It's like the universal donor of the herb world. So
Hmm.
it's the one that softens the tissues and allows for the other medicines to do their work. It is not doing the heavy lifting of the work, right? So this is the way that we kind of structure things to go together. So I
Hmm.
love where your mind is going. Holy basil to me is nervous system herb. That's something that I'm going to program for the nerves, but also I'm going to program that for hormone balancing.
Hmm.
Lemongrass, I'm going to use as an astringent to
Hmm.
clear mucus, etc., from your system. And what was your peppermint?
Yes, yeah.
I
I love
love
my
who doesn't
peppermint.
love peppermint? Peppermint's so much fun. And a lot of our teas have peppermint because it is a cleansing herb, but it is a volatile oil. So it contains an oil that I don't know if you've ever
Mhm.
had peppermint oil on your hands and made the mistake of
Yes.
touching your skin oh yeah, it's memorable, right? Shameika,
Oh
you've
yeah.
met.
Yes.
I've met you, Peppermint. And so, because of that, it's something that I love as a tea we take regularly. But I also want to make sure that if you're dry in your mucous membranes, or let's say, for example, you're experiencing menopause and you may be drier in certain areas of your body, like you want your yoni to be nice and juicy, or whatever the case is. There are certain herbs that I wouldn't lean you into, like sage or peppermint as much. So many things have to be considered. Now, just singular herbs, don't love it. It's like one guy in a village on an island. He's like, I just can't do anything. I have to
Yeah.
put everybody together, no less than 15 to 20 of these guys, and they have to be in the right balance. So
Mhm.
my answer to that is always trust an herbalist.
Yes. Don't just be in your kitchen mixing up stuff.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. Yes, it's funny you mentioned an oil, and I can't remember the name of it, but I just remember calling my hairdresser, and I was like, "There is something that stinks in my hair. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out." But it was an oil that I had gotten from my chiropractor, and
Okay.
apparently, I just put it all over my neck and everywhere else, and it got into my hair, and it took I don't know how many washes to get it out of my hair because
Sorry.
it just started to. It was awful. Like, so you have to definitely be careful with the oils.
Definitely. And whose fault is it? Right? Like, we can't blame the plant. This
Right.
is this is a miscommunication between human beings. Not your
Yes.
fault, not the other person's fault. It's just not a communication just wasn't there. And so in that case, the plant, we can't blame the plant. It's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
It just didn't anticipate that you were going to do that.
At all. I want to ask the chat. Let me know in the chat what kinds of tea you guys are drinking. I do see a couple comments. There's a comment from Labelia Williams. She was saying her mom was a tea drinker, but she had kidney stones, and the doctor said the amount of tea consumption caused it. Have you heard of that before?
So I love this question. I have heard of that before. However, let's be clear that there are two different things we're talking about. And so let's use the very English terminology, meaning in English, right? That we have teas,
Hmm.
right? Which is the Camellia sinensis plant, the one plant that makes black tea, green tea, white tea,
Hmm.
purple oolongs, pu'ers, all come from one plant. It's just the way that the leaf is when it's plucked and how much processing it has. And when I say processing, I don't mean like a terrible processing. I mean, like, is it heated or sun dried? Is it,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So that's the one thing called tea.
Hmm.
Now we have a thing called tisane, Tisane, which is typically like your herbs, your spices, things that are not part of that particular plant's family. So when someone says, "Okay, my tea," so like I'm having my Alaska nerve, right? I'm having this.
Hmm.
So if they say, "Well, my tea is causing a problem, like kidney stones, etc.," it is not it's not a tisane. It's the plant, the tea plant, and more than likely the black tea variety of that plant, which is going to be something that was a little more carbonized. So it's
Hmm.
something that has gotten heated at a higher heat level. And not that that's a terrible thing, but these are two different things. And so it
Gotcha.
just depends on that's typically what I hear, is that it's the tea from that plant. So if somebody's been
Mhm.
drinking Lipton tea every day, for example, right? Although I know your listeners, your viewers would not drink that, but drinking something like that every day, leaning on that, it is going to be a problem.
Mhm.
Also, because of the way that kind of tea is processed. That's
Oh,
that's just the little dust
mhm.
that comes off of the table when a really good tea is actually made, right? It's not the whole leaf, it's just the little breaking pieces of the dust that has fallen off. That's what they're selling you. So that becomes a problem. So this is a great question, and the teas that are made of herbs can actually be helpful within the kidney stone and keeping kidney ducts and
Mhm.
tubules, everybody working nicely. So we have to
Okay.
separate those two things.
Well, that kind of answered my next question about the difference between some loose tea and the tea bags. What else should we know when deciding? Because I know I tried to do the tea strainer thing. I
It's a
don't think I did
mess.
it right.
It's a
I had to
messy.
tap out.
It's messy. Well, if you see here, I have a tea and it's in the bag. It's in a
Yes.
little pyramid bag. Let me see if I can show you how that looks a little better. So this is the one I'm having because my family gets on my nerves. And
I need that one.
so I'm having my last good nerve. So because I need to relax and recover from these people. And so this is the loose leaf tea, but it's in the bag.
Uh-huh.
Right? And the bag is made of sugarcane fibers. It's not sweet, but it's the fibers. And so
Mhm.
this is something that's biodegradable, no microplastics. That's a huge conversation we must have when we're talking about uh, teas and in tea bags, etc. Is the microplastics and microtoxins, but
Mhm.
this doesn't. So I love a loose leaf tea, which this is, but when you said that you had it in the strainer and the thing, and then you got to like now I got to put the strainer somewhere. Now
Right.
I got
It's
to
too
find a
much.
place to put it. I got 5 things to clean up. I just wanted a cup of tea for goodness sake.
Right.
So this is it. You drop it, you're gone. You got it. You're out. So that's a great question, and I want to make it easy for people. And it's single dose. So this is
Yeah,
exactly calibrated to what you needed. So there's no
perfect.
guessing, like you were saying, or I don't know if I'm using too much or too little,
Mhm.
or boom. You don't have time for that. I do.
Exactly.
I do. So I'm doing it for you. You don't have time for that.
I see in the chat there's some green tea drinkers. I'm feeling that. I like green tea. But I do want to know, so
Green tea is
we
caffeinated, by the way.
well,
There's a
I
lot of
buy
people.
the decaffeinated, but again, I know it's
Yeah.
the ones I probably shouldn't be drinking.
So green tea is caffeinated. I love to tell people that because a lot of times we will think, okay, I'll have a cup of tea, around 1 or 2, or in the evening, I'll have a
Mhm.
green tea is highly caffeinated. So if we're
Yes.
finding we're not resting the way that we should, if you're not able to get in bed and start sleeping by 10, 11 o'clock at night and not waking up in the middle of the night, etc., then it can be that you're overstimulated from whatever beverages you had.
Mhm.
So me personally, I will have like our elephant walk tea,
Mhm.
which is a purple oolong. So it's from that same family of the Camellia sinensis plant that I mentioned.
Right.
However, it's got a little less caffeine. So as a green tea lover myself, I love a purple tea because it's got all the things that wake up the brain. All the purple foods in the
Mhm.
universe are the things that help stimulate those and help stave off Alzheimer's and dementia and things of that nature. So green tea is awesome if taken
Mhm.
early enough. I personally cannot have anything caffeinated after like 12. I
Same.
just can't. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
you're you're high energy, you run hot.
Yes, but then I also don't go to bed at 10 or 11 like I should.
This
My
is the start of something big. I'm gonna send you a care package. We're gonna get some teas to you. Like our go the heck to sleep. That's the one. I take it in bed and
yes,
I'm done, baby. I'm done. Because
that's what I
otherwise
need.
I'm up at night and my brain is like dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun 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 dun. I don't
that's me.
want to
So,
keep doing that. So I
so
would I would just advise that if we are going to have things that are caffeinated, we do clean caffeine stuff, not the ones that have been decaf, green tea,
yeah.
etc. We want
Mhm.
the plant in its natural state. Let it do what it do. It do what it do, boo. Let it do its
Yes.
thing in the morning. And then we transition into other things as the day goes on so that our
Mhm.
body's not shocked when we wanted to go to sleep. Like, oh, I thought we were staying up.
Right.
This the after party. Like, no, no, it's not the after party.
So I have to ask this because I'm guilty of it, and I know y'all don't let me be the only one that does this in the chat. But I tend to because I'm like I can't just drink the tea just as it is. It's like well I need to add a little. I'm sure I don't really do sugar, but I will add maybe a pack of Splenda or a little bit of honey. Now, is that taking away from whatever that tea is supposed to be doing, or is that okay? What do you guys put in y'all's tea? Sometimes I'll put a little lemon juice in there. It just depends.
Okay.
Or lime juice, whatever I'm going through that
Nobody's
day.
mad at lemon. I feel like you know the answer to this.
I
Nobody's
do.
mad at lemon. Okay. All right. Because you're a learned lady. Nobody's mad at lime. Nobody's mad at anything. Nobody's really even mad at honey. I personally don't sweeten my tea, but in serving it to other people, I use agave because I like the fact that it doesn't change the flavor of the tea. And the second thing I like is that it is actually less sugary to your bloodstream, where because the agave is a lower glycemic index. So it
Hmm.
tastes a lot less and it just instantly delivers that sweetness to your tongue. Splenda though. Come on, Shameika. Come on. We don't want
Just
any
one or two
sweets and splendas and sweet and lows and 0 calorie this and so that. It is it's just from the devil and
packets.
it's not good for you. And already they're talking about the cancers and other things that come
Yeah.
from it because your body knows what to do with sugar. You know what happened in the 1970s and part of the 80s? What happened was that these industries that made other kinds of food chemicals, because be clear, these are industries that made both, like chemical warfare chemicals and food chemicals were made in the same factory. That what
Yeah.
they figured out was that something that they could do was villainize sugar. So if they made sugar a villain, they could still keep giving sugar to children in the form of
Right.
cereals and all that stuff, but to adults, they could market artificial sweeteners, 0 calorie items. That's where zero Coke and sugar-free this and so came out. The problem is that these things had not been tested. And so they were just given to the population and we just became the test rats for these
Hmm.
things. The next thing that happened was people started feeling like sugar was horrible. And the reality of the situation is that processed sugar is horrible. But like where my parents and grandparents are from, you got these sugar cane fields, and sugar is actually brown and not brown sugar you buy in the store, but it's big fat crystals that look like, right? And so that is not bad for you. Also, we weren't using but so much of it, right?
Right.
Now we fast forward to we've gotten used to these 0 cal products, but
Hmm.
we've already seen that the next thing is going to be a TV commercial that says, "Have you been injured by this? By Nutraceuticals,
Right.
Splenda, like, call 1-800, call a lawyer, whatever." And we don't want that problem. I don't want that for you either. Your
Yeah.
body understands sugar. It does not understand what to do with this other stuff. It's a foreign
Mhm.
substance that it cannot understand. And just as we talked about the stuff behind the counter at CVS
Right.
versus having some herbs, it's the
Hmm.
same exact constitution. The natural thing is always going to be the thing that your body understands. And the other thing, those chemicals are made in the same place. It does not understand that at all. So I beg you to please throw these things away and go ahead and do it. Should I send you some agave?
Yes, yes, please.
I can send you some.
I will, I will try some tea tomorrow without it and see.
We have some raw sugar stirrers that we sell that are on our site too, that come from these growers in the Caribbean. I'm going to send
Awesome.
you some because
Okay.
they're so easy to put in. You don't even need a spoon. Boom, you're done. And you
Okay.
can govern how much of it you want to use too. And it just makes so much more sense. It tastes so clean and beautiful. I want the best for you, Shameika. I like you. I'm very fond of you.
I like you too. You are coming with the music and, it's celebration. I was like, this is my people right here. I did see a question about some Gale artists wanted to know what is your website? I think she's ready to look and see what you've got. Do you want to just go ahead and mention it? And then we'll mention it again later.
Sure. It's Calabash, Calabash, calabashtea.com. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just going to come up with just kind of go through a list of different things, and if you can tell us what kind of teas work for that, how
All
does that
right. I'll
sound?
put
Okay.
my thinking hat on.
Yes. And you guys in the chat, if you want to ask a question, just please drop it in the chat.
Yeah, like
Let's
a
start.
DJ. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like a TJ, a TJ. All right, let's do it.
So, if someone is feeling anxious or overwhelmed, what tea would you recommend?
My last good nerve. So that's the tea that we have that has holy basil, which you mentioned, Shameika, because you're
Yes.
brilliant.
Hmm.
Uh, it's got it's got Moroccan lavender. It's got so many really great things. Like I like passion flower. I like passion flower to break up fights. Yeah, not
Mm-hmm.
passion fruit, passion flower, which is a completely different plant. I've seen passion flower break up straight fights. Like people are fighting. I was like, here, you chew on this, you chew on this. And they stop slugging each other. I like oat straw for the nervous system. Otherwise known as avena sativa, right? Like the oats we
Yeah.
eat every day or whatever the case is. But those oats by the Quaker guy, like the white old guy on the box, are denatured. There's nothing there for you. There's
Yes.
empty flat. You may as well wet the label and just eat the label, like in the bowl with some hot water. It's
Right.
probably better. It's probably got more, you know what I mean? It's got some fiber. So I like my last good nerve, which I was saying because my family just were wearing me out. But I
Hmm.
absolutely love this tea because it's held me over the years, and all of the formulas we have are predicated on my great grandmother's or great great grandmother's recipes
Hmm.
over the years. Because if it's not broke, you don't fix it. And if
Right.
anything, I've tweaked it for
Hmm.
modern life because the human beings they were dealing with, that
Hmm.
these healers that I descended from are not the same people now. We have lights and sounds and electromagnetic
Hmm.
frequencies and phones that were on all night. Not you, Shameika, never
Right.
you. But
Hmm.
but
Nope. Never me. Never me.
we have air pollution. We have so many things that they did not have to deal with. So I've had to dial up or tweak out or
Hmm.
counterbalance things in a way because I just have to meet us where we are at the moment. You can't complain about it. You just have to be like, let's just do it. So
Yeah.
that's a great question. Nervous system
Yeah.
questions, besides inflammation, are the two questions I get the
Hmm.
most. The most. Our
Well,
nerves
let's
are
talk
shot.
inflammation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
Let's
want to
talk
talk
inflammation
inflammation?
because yes, because I know I hear that a lot. And being in perimenopause, there's, oh, you've got a lot of inflammation, or, I don't know if anybody else, I do see someone in the comments, Lavelia Williams, she said, well, we'll get to that too, but she's been going through night sweats. She's 65 and should be done with menopause. So I don't know if inflammation plays a part with that too. So yeah, let's talk inflammation.
Absolutely. I'll answer her question. Don't let me forget
Okay.
um, about menopause specifically because it deserves to have its own set of
Yes.
answers. And I hear
Yes.
what she's saying, and I want to definitely help. So inflammation. Look, Shameika, we all swole. Everybody is swole right now. I have not met one person who doesn't have some form of inflammation.
Right.
Anytime you hear the word itis on the end of something, well, you're not on the couch and you ate too much, you
Right.
got itis, but like actual itis, any kind of itis, arthritis, nephritis, anything we have, these are issues of inflammation. And so that's part of like what I was just talking about with a modern lifestyle. We're
Mhm.
seeing more inflammation than we ever had.
Yeah.
When I was a kid growing up in my parents' shop, and these there were three locations in New York. It didn't matter which shop I went to, what that population was. When I was behind the counter as the free labor, the free child labor, I would not hear much about inflammation.
Mhm.
Fast forward 100 years later, because yes, I'm that old. Fast forward 100 years later, and I hear inflammation
Yes.
every day, 7, 8 times a day. And so what we're dealing with are modern ailments. So for inflammation, I know a lot of people, turmeric has gotten a lot of buzz, and a lot of
Yeah.
people, oh, I take turmeric. Now, here's the thing. What kind of turmeric? It's like, oh, it's in a capsule, it's in a tablet, or I stir it into this, or that's
Hmm.
fantastic. However, I will say this, that turmeric is only as good as two things, Shameika, two things. One
Okay.
is how much curcumin is in it. And curcumin is the active ingredient, the chemical inside of the turmeric that
Hmm.
assists with the anti-inflammatory process. The second thing is piperine, which is found in black pepper. And so curcumin and piperine go hand in hand. And
Oh.
when piperine is present, it helps the curcumin work better, like a time release in your body
Hmm.
for that inflammation. Otherwise, you're taking that turmeric and it's just going through your system, right?
Hmm.
And if you have the piperine present, it helps. So think about this, how much curcumin is in what we're getting every day from the supplements that we've gotten from the same people who once made the sugar
Hmm.
substitutes, the chemical is the same people. Now they
Yeah.
figured out there's money in selling you. Okay. So the second thing is, think about how absolutely brilliant our ancestors are, right?
Hmm.
That they knew when they make something like curry and it's full of turmeric, that you
Right.
must have black pepper present in the food, because the
Hmm.
food becomes the medicine. So we need to go back to, how do I make this food the medicine? How do I learn to make delicious curry? Or how do I learn to use
Hmm.
the turmeric in ways that we should? You ever had Jamaican patties?
No, but I just did an interview last week about actually that. There was a chef I was talking to. I've
So
never
you've
had
never
it.
had a patty, like it looks like an empanada?
No, I've never had
Okay,
it.
you're
Don't
gonna have
test
to
me
come and
all in
hang
the
out with me.
comments.
You're gonna have to come. I'm in my kitchen right now because I'm the kitchen witch. So I'm in the kitchen. You're gonna have to come, and we're gonna make some patties together. I love
Yes,
cooking
I would
on
love that.
camera. We're gonna be on camera, Shamika. Get yourself together. And what I and what I will say is that if you ever see them, which you will, they have
Mhm.
an orange outer shell,
Okay.
right? And so it's like an empanada, but it has an orange, and that orange color is because it has turmeric in it. So
Ah.
a lot of people who've eaten Jamaican patties didn't know that. They're like, oh, I didn't know. I thought it was like a food coloring or whatever. But
Mhm.
no, it is actually, the food is the medicine. And so we have to get back to understanding how to do that in our own kitchens, how to do that when we trust an herbalist that, hey, I need these things. Can you make sure you give me things with the highest amount? When curcumin, when turmeric has been tested, the stuff that's in the store, even if it's in the Whole Foods or others, they may have 5% curcumin. You're not getting as much as you think. But
Mhm.
when we get things, let's say, for example, from Jamaica, which has a tremendous turmeric industry and
Right.
ginger industry, the
Mhm.
curcumin level is like 60%. That is amazing.
Mhm.
And that's what you want, is those old school ways of harvesting and growing and knowing your farmers and knowing your source. Even if
Mhm.
you don't know the farmers, knowing your source so that you get the medicine you need to get. So a lot of us want to solve inflammation problems, but we're not getting the right medicine, which is part of the issue. Because if we're taking turmeric every day, we shouldn't have any problem with
Mhm.
inflammation. It's
Mhm.
solved. So if it's
Right.
not solved, the medicine is not potent.
Woo, that's a message right there. So
True.
let's see. Let's go back to menopause with hormones, and we can include when cramps,
Mhm.
all the things as
All the
women
good
go
things.
through.
The good
The cramps, the night sweats, the
all
hot
the great
flashes,
stuff.
all
The
of it.
cramps, the fibroids, the cramps, the endometriosis, the
Mhm.
perimenopause, menopausal issues, all of it is really just one thing, right? And what I like to think of it as just it's all about hormonal balance. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the best things about herbs is that plants typically ask for homeostasis, right? Certain medicines you'll be given, they're going to take a level in your body up or
Mm-hmm.
down, and it doesn't have a way to figure that out, right? But
Yeah.
with an herb, it will ask your body to come to this level. So, with the kinds of things that we would take for endometriosis or fibroids or cramps or PMS or they're all going to be the same herbs for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. So, we have a tea called Yoniverse because the Yoni is,
Right.
our
And
holy of holies.
the love below, as Outcast once said.
Absolutely. And so Yoniverse is our tea for that. But then
Mhm.
we have two different tonics and that's why we're calabash tea and tonic. A
Mhm.
tonic is oh, that's my guy gave me some from the warehouse. A tonic is a distillation. So when it comes to you, it would be in a small dropper bottle. But
Okay.
something like this, which is called Wise Woman,
Mhm.
this is for menopause, perimenopause, because
Oh, okay.
that's what women were called who were in that phase of life. Once
Mhm.
you finish, right, you have maiden, mother, crone, as they call it, right?
Mhm.
So when you get to this other phase of your existence, you're considered a wise woman. And that's what they would call you when you're, 50 and up. This person
Mhm.
knows some things. I need to know what she teach me your ways, teach me your ways. And so we're not at that age put out to pasture. We're
Right.
instead referred to as an elder, a learned person who is going to go ahead and give me information about marriage, about childbirth, about
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
divorce, because sometimes you need that too. So, but they give you all the information that you need to live. And being a wise woman should mean that you're not bothered by night sweats and forgetfulness and foggy brain and other stuff. You deserve to have restfulness. You deserve to have your hormones in balance. So for menopause, perimenopause, the wise woman tonic plus the yoniverse tea is the
Mhm.
1-2 punch. For
Mhm.
endometriosis, cramps, PMS, things like that, the Yoniverse tea, and then we have a tonic called Punani Power. And you put those two together, and then that's the solution because it is just a little bit different when you
Mhm.
get to those phases, but the base of those things is basically the same. So I find that typically once we start entering the world of putting the right herbs in the right balance, those
Mhm.
things resolve. I've had people come to me, Shameika, who have come into our cafe and said, I haven't had a cycle in 3 years. I'm 30 years old. I'm too young to be going through that, and I
Mhm.
don't know what's going on, or 35, whatever.
Yeah.
I still want to have children, but my cycle has stopped and I just need to get it started or whatever, right? And I've
Mhm.
given them a tea, I've given them a shot of tonic. I'm like, don't worry about it. We got you, whatever. My hand to God. I've had people come back up to the counter and say, I've been sitting in here for an hour and a half, 2 hours on my laptop working, and I went to the bathroom and my cycle started
Oh, wow.
like that. And I was amazed myself. I was like, okay, you didn't even need a second dose, huh, girl? To me, they were just on the edge. They were on the precipice of needing just that little help. And their
Mhm.
body was like, well, thank you. I've been
Yeah.
asking for this help. And now you finally, okay, here you go. Psh, you know, so
Wow.
that
Okay.
that is the kind of thing I've heard many times over the years because it just needed a little fine tuning. The body wants to do that level of healing, but if the resources are not available, it just won't do it.
Okay. I do see, let's see. I know we were supposed to be done by now, but do you have a few more minutes? Because I see some other questions in the chat.
I love hanging out with you.
Okay.
My family, forget about them.
Yeah, they'll be fine outside.
They see me all the time. Out of here.
So I see a question from Tamika Smith, and she's asking what kind of teas for iron deficiency?
This is a great question. I like our Yoniverse tea for that because I also have nettle and some other things in there that are really great for iron and iron absorption. But I'm going to tell you, what's her name?
Tamika.
Tamika. I'm going to say this to you, Tamika, that iron is so very important, especially if you've been um, menstruating in a way that has leached you out of all of the things that you needed. So if your cycles are heavy, if they're very have a lot of clots, they're heavy, they're too long. And to me, a cycle that's more than 3 days, yes, I said it, 3 days is too long. You need to be in and back out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if your hormones are tweaked properly, if they're adjusted, then you will certainly have that happen for you. So if you are on 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, and it's just this heavy, you're going to be iron deficient.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, I like the Yoniverse tea. Plus, guess what happened? I like Floradix. Floradix. It's a liquid supplement that you can get, like, you could order it online. You could also get it at like a health food store, whatever the case is. I absolutely love it. And I have used it for patients going back many, many years. When I was a kid, I was on it. It's been
Mm-hmm.
around forever. And taking that on a daily basis, so if I were if I were iron low,
Mm-hmm.
felt energetic deficient, like I just felt like, oh, and you
Yeah.
can tell if your hair feels very dry, if
Mm-hmm.
your skin is dry, if it looks sallow, like greenish, if
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of dark circling under the eyes, it can be your kidneys at work, but it also can be the iron that is happening in your system. You're cold, your hands and feet are cold, you're
Mm-hmm.
always feeling chilly. That's an iron situation. And it's good for us as ladies to always get checked, not just for iron, but they're going to draw the blood anyway. Just go ahead and let them run a whole panel for you on
Mm-hmm.
what your vitamins and minerals look like. And so that you can get an understanding, and your thyroid, for example. So we see what's going on, because being cold can also be that, right? But
Right.
I love Floradix for that. And me, if I were low in iron, I would take 3 times as much as what it says on the bottle for at least a week, a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and then move back to whatever it's saying to take. That's what I would do. Right. And you always have to talk to your primary care provider before you start anything.
Mm-hmm.
See how that works for you and make sure you're in communication, because that's a marriage that can afford no cheating.
Right.
You have
Exactly.
you have to have that conversation so that everybody's on the same page, and nothing that you're taking, because we have to respect the herbs, that nothing
Mm-hmm.
that you're taking is contraindicated for other medications or issues that you may already be facing. But that's what I would say about that. I love Floradix for that. If you want to take a multivitamin and you're not doing that, Miss Roots, I like their prenatal, postnatal
Mm-hmm.
vitamin. Doesn't matter if you're pregnant or not. It's just that they always give the pregnant people the best vitamin. And so it's very high in iron. So I like their prenatal, postnatal, but just make sure that if you're going to take that, you take it before noon. It's very energizing.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
want to be up with Shameika, because Shameika's going to get to bed. So you be up by your damn self. Shameika's
I
going
do, really, really. Somebody called me the other night. They were like, "You're the only person I knew that would be up," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, I guess because
and
I
then
am."
you said to yourself, I don't want to be that girl.
Right? I don't. I don't. And I see someone in the chat. Stella Guzman says she has trouble sleeping. Thank you. I'm not the only one. And I'm
No,
blaming the hormones.
by far, you're not the only person. That's part of our nervous system breakdown in this society, is that we're too wound and we just can't come back to where we need to go. So, if they're on our site, Go the Heck to Sleep is my top choice. And that's why I made it, because in my own house, I was like, go to heck to sleep. I was telling people, And there's a deep dreams tonic. So I have that deep dreams tonic on my nightstand, and I take it before it's a little spray bottle. I take it before I go to bed. And let me tell you why. Because if I drink something like a big cup of tea like this
Mhm.
after 8 o'clock, I'm
Mhm.
going to be up going to you know where I was
Yeah.
going, Shameika.
Yep, because that's me. I wait. I guzzle all my water towards the end of the day like a
Because
fool.
you didn't get it in earlier. You're like, I got to get it in.
Yes.
Right? And what I would venture to say, two things. One is I have a reminder app on my phone called
Mhm.
Waterminder. I don't know if
Mhm.
you guys know about it, but I love it. And it just pops up and it's like time to drink more water, whatever. And you can just click it to say how much you
Oh.
drank, or you just go ahead and drink some water.
Mhm.
And because sometimes I'm busy, I forget. You're a busy lady. We're busy
Yes.
people. The
Right.
second thing is I use the tonic, which these tonics, of course, this is my big thing for the from the warehouse, but the smaller one that you would have is something you can keep next to your nightstand, like I do. And I use that because 4 or 5 sprays of that in each cheek is like drinking 3 or 4 cups of tea because it's been
Mhm.
distilled down. Like when you reduce a gravy or something, right? It's distilled down
Yeah.
because I don't want all that liquid swish swashing around. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
get up at 3 a.m. and use the bathroom and then my mind starts moving or whatever, and Lord knows you don't want to have the pee dream. So you want to go ahead and go to the bath.
Right.
You can't be the only person who ever knew that one. But you gotta go to the bathroom and you gotta get back. No, but just using the tonic, the deep
Mhm.
dreams tonic, then I don't have to get up. And that I love that.
Okay. Um, and then I thought I saw a question about weight loss. If their weight loss gets kind of stalled, is there a tea or some herbs that help with that?
Um, Detoxing is absolutely important, and not things like, oh, I heard this is good or dandelions give it. Stop playing with these herbs. They not playing with you. Stop playing
Mhm.
because then your liver is compromised. Other things are happening. So we have a tea called Cosmic Connection. I really like that for detoxing. And the other thing that I really love and we have tea talks, we have a tea called tea talks. But what I really love people to make the connection on, and I'm not picking on you, Shameika, but if we don't get the rest we need, then our
Yes.
cortisol levels are off, and that throws off our hormones, and
Mhm.
also our weight. It starts to yo-yo a bit, or we start to
Mhm.
gain weight, like in the middle sections or
Yep.
whatever. We're like, "Ooh, this is feeling a little squishy," or whatever's going
Mhm.
on. And so that uh, is because the liver just wants to do its job. Now, what
Mhm.
happens is your heavy hitters, right? Like your
Mhm.
liver and your lungs are doing their work at like 1, 2, 3, 4
Mhm.
a.m. But they can't work if we are not if we're doing other things. So if we're up too late, they can't do their work. If our minds are moving, they can't do their work. If
Mhm.
we're up trying to drink all the water and like we're up trying to go, I can't do. So we need to be soundly asleep. We also
Mhm.
can't eat too late. And it's
Right.
and it's not for the reason people sometimes think like, oh, it'll put weight on you because you're eating too. The reason why that happens is because all of your resources are going to the stomach to try to digest, and
Mhm.
those resources needed to go to the liver and to the lungs and to other places that really needed to help govern the fat balance in the body and
Mhm.
our relaxation, etc. But it can't because it's churning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we just have to get away from, let's say, eating after sundown. We really need to respect nature in
Mhm.
that capacity. And that's why plants put us back in balance. My great grandmother, who was from Cuba and an herbalist, the village healer in her village, used to tell me
Mhm.
that plants get you into the right space you need to be because they're your connection back to the divinity. They're your connection back to the creator because they obey, right? They come
Mhm.
up when they come up, they go down when the sun goes down. You're the only one staying up. It's just me and you hanging out.
Right.
So the plant reminds you of what
Yeah.
nature is trying to tell you. And so it's informing you of your own divinity too, to like get yourself back in balance. because
Mhm.
healing is your birthright. It's your divine birthright, really.
Yeah. This has been such a great conversation. The chat has been loving you.
I love them. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I asked this question of everybody, and I think I might know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. But what feeds your soul?
Oh, this is such a great question. I'm so glad you asked this to folks. What feeds me is healing the people. Uh, I don't know. Was that what you thought I was?
Yep, that's where I thought we were going. Yep. I got one right, y'all.
Yeah, that feeds my soul. When I know that I've been of use and of purpose, then that does everything for me. Because if there's one day that I feel like I didn't help someone and I wasn't able to reach someone who needed me, then that's a day that I'm like, oh, I don't know. But even with my staff, at the end of the day, I'm always like, all right, I feel like the people were healed today. Or how you guys feeling? You feel like we helped the people? And we don't go home until we have a feeling that we actually put some work in. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
thank you for asking that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that is a great answer. So where can, and, I know we mentioned the website earlier. I want you to give that again and your social media. And so where is this physical store located?
So we're actually setting up another location. We are moving the one that I would refer you to right now.
Okay.
But our warehouse is where, our pickups, et cetera. Our warehouse is here in DC in this area. So we can, hang out, talk to people, whatever the case is. So if folks go on our website, they're going to see like all of our information there for how to, get at us, et cetera.
Mhm.
And in the chat. And we're in the DMV in the DC area. And so the website is calabashtea.com.
Okay.
And folks can go on there. There's a little chat box that says, how can we help to heal you today? And feel free to put in a question. A real person will actually answer your question when they're back in the warehouse and they're happy to help you or in location and answer your questions. And so sometimes people are like, is this a real person? It actually is an actual human of Earth. It's a human of Earth.
That is good to know because I'm always thinking like, is this AI? But I want to shout out to Gail in the comments. I did see she posted the link to the website, so thank you for
Oh,
that.
thank you, Gail. And if folks want to follow us, we're at Calabash Tea on Instagram. It's at Sunyata Amen on Instagram. And then we have a YouTube channel where I put up things like Herb of the Day and hanging out with folks, being able to give them like, here's my 14 favorite herbs for menopause,
Mhm.
menstruation, and otherwise. Like, so there's a whole video like that where I'll just run through 14 of them and give
Mhm.
you their medicinal property, where they're from, their magical property, because in folkloric medicine, like what were they used for? And we go to those places, and I'm glad people are asking those kind of questions, not just the movie Sinners. You know what I'm saying? That they brought
Right.
it
I
back.
was thinking about sinners, but I was like, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
Bring it up. I'm glad there's interest in us returning to understanding some things too,
Yes.
and that's fantastic. So the YouTube channel is under my name, Sunyata Amen, and folks, I would really love it if they subscribe. That really helps me keep going because, like you said, that feeds my soul to know that we're connecting and we're in
Mhm. Yeah,
community
that's
with
right.
each
That's right.
other.
That's right. Community.
Community. But thank you so much, Shameika. And I have to send you a care package and your beautiful engineer. We'll make sure we get you guys taken care of.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge with us. This has been great. I see Gail says she's on the site now about to purchase her order. So that is amazing. Thank you, Gail, again for putting the link in the chat so that people can find it.
I appreciate that. Let me make a code for your folks. I'm going to send a note to my warehouse guy. So Soulibration, can we make a code
Yeah,
for a
sure,
discount for you guys?
sure.
So it'll take 15% off your order. Does that sound nice?
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay.
So Gail, wait till she creates the code and then put
Oh,
it in.
wait a minute. So yeah, just give me like 10 seconds after we
Yeah,
get off and our guy will put it up for you.
perfect. Well, for more information on what teas help with healing, you can also head over to blackdoctor.org for articles. I know there's an article over there because I just read it earlier. And so you guys make sure to go check that out too. And I'm back next week and I'm so excited about this. A lot of people don't know that once upon a time in a former life, I went on a reality show to lose weight. And so the guy that was on that show to train a bunch of old washed up cheerleaders, he's coming next week. And he is also he used to train the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. So he's coming to talk fitness and health. And let me tell you, that
Uh-oh,
man kicked my tail back in the day. So he knows
I
what he's
like
talking
it.
about.
I
So
like it. Shamika,
yeah,
the more I get to know about you, the more fascinated I am, girl. We're going to have to sit down and have tea together so I can discover more. This is
yes,
fabulous.
yes, yes. So make sure you come back and watch next week. Next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, Jay Johnson will be here. And so everybody have a soul-filled rest of the week, and I will see you guys soon.
Thank you
Have a
for
good
having
night.
me. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Don't hang up yet. Uh-oh. Sorry. I'm like, I don't know what's